Hello, welcome to another episode of a very good social media podcast where we try to live up to that name every day. I'm your host, Zach Gelia. Let's get into it. On today's episode, I have the honor and a privilege of welcoming Mekale Jackson, Senior Director of Global Social Media Strategy for Under Armour, to the show. Someone that I have followed and admired on LinkedIn for a very long time, and not only just the work and the expertise that he has, but just the advice and the insight that he shares and helps this industry in so many different ways. And his experience is so vast and in so many different areas and disciplines and so much expertise in his journey. And so it was great to sit back and just really soak it all in and listen to his entire journey and how he got to where he is, and the importance of work ethic and that determination and having that competitive spirit, that you have when you're an athlete and work in athletics. So a lot of amazing things, a lot of great advice for those coming after us and trying to get in the industry, or for those that are already in the industry and trying to learn some more. So can't wait for you guys to hear this conversation. It was one that I won't soon forget. So, without further ado, I'd love to welcome Mekale to the show.
Oh, appreciate it. What's up, Zach?
What's going on, man? Well, honestly, I'm so thankful that you're able to take the time. Someone I've followed along with for a long time on LinkedIn, and someone who just always ends up providing some sort of point of view that is helpful when it comes to creating content or leadership or anything in between. It's just really, that's how I've basically got to know you from afar, is just, observing, digesting everything that you have to put out. And it's always been great and always been helpful in my journey.
Oh, appreciate it. It's part of the business. So definitely appreciate that.
For sure, man. Well, cool. Well, I do every episode. I basically get started is just I want to hear about your journey, how you got to where you are today. I believe you went to University of Michigan, and then all the way through, the MLS, freelance work for the NBA, St. John's, all the way to Under Armour and where you are today. So, take us through that journey and how you got there and what you're up to with Under Armour.
Yeah. So you're right. Like I'm from Detroit. Went, product of the Detroit public school system. Very proud of that. Cass Tech. And then graduated from the University of Michigan. But like I really got my start in like the sports industry just by my love for graphic design. I started to pick up graphic design through a fraternity brother of mine at the University of Michigan my junior year, and he uploaded Photoshop onto my computer because I found this interest. Like he was making this party flyer. I'm like, man, like what is this? I need to know how to make that. And this is before YouTube and before like all this other things. So he put a pirated version of Photoshop on my computer. I figured out how to design, and I started making party flyers for my fraternity and also like the NPHC council on campus. But then when it was time to graduate and move on to the professional world, I was wondering like, man, like what do I do? Do I do Teach for America? Do I do some other marketing? So I started to interview for all these places. I started to interview at ABC Sports in their TV ad department, and this other job at this Division III school in New York because my girlfriend at the time was moving to New York. My wife now, mother of my kids. And I said, you know what? Let me take this chance at this Division III school, the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy. I knew nothing about it, but it was through my internship at Michigan that those like the marketing department was just telling me all about sports, telling me all about the different positions within athletics. And that was my first entryway into sports. It's like those guys took me on their wing and just laid out all the information. So I used graphic design tool to get inside of the Merchant Marine Academy to design like pamphlets, publications. I think like media guides. Like that was that one crack at me jumping into the industry, and I moved across the country or midway across the country to take that Merchant Marine Academy job, Division III school, right after graduating. So took that job. I just wanted to get into sports. And I was only there for 6 months because like my thing was I had these ambitions of working in Division 1. And there's nothing, and Division 3 was great, but I knew that ultimately I wanted to get in Division 1. And but I used that as an opportunity just to crack into sports. And like once I got into the sports ecosystem, a job at St. John's University opened up, and I reached out and applied. And that was my first boss, Mark Frado. Like he took a chance on me and hired me when I had like limited experience, but I had that confidence in knowing that I'll be able to teach myself whatever it is that I didn't know because I'm a competitor at heart. Like like you're not going to tell me something that I can and can't do, but I will figure it out like one way or another. I will sit there and do my best to be the best. So worked at St. John's University for 12 years, and this was in various capacities from designing publications, um, designing all their marketing materials, print ads, posters, and then like once the social media era hit, that's really like when I saw my kind of like bread and butter, and I started to lead creative, lead digital, lead social media, lead licensing, and my career just kind of grew from that time at St. John's. But then in parallel, I started to pick up clients for other universities across the country, the NBA, a bunch of different NBA teams, Bleacher Report. I started to just do all this design work for just a lot of other people, and that really gave me the experiences that I was truly kind of looking for. So like that was like my true start in sports. St. John's was pivotal, and then starting to freelance for the NBA and those other companies across the country.
It's amazing, man. It's crazy. Like the story you mentioned about getting Photoshop because you were making like posters for parties and stuff. That's literally when I was in college. I went into communications because I loved film, I loved, TV, I loved writing, things like that. But one of the things that like got me into social media was me and my buddies would make videos to invite people to parties and we'd post them on Facebook and invite. So it's like it's so funny how something so little and like in the moment you don't really think anything of it of just like, oh, this is fun. Like it's just it's getting people here. But like how that grows and ends up being like, oh man, it kind of like started this whole journey.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And that was my mindset as well. It's like when I was making those party flyers, I was doing it because number one, there's an interest to me. Like I had a pure interest in designing these marketing materials. But then two, like I was designing for something that I cared about, which was just different events for my fraternity. And I didn't have an interest in design like that though. Like that it was, just I wanted to communicate a certain thing. But then like once, it was time to apply for jobs, I knew that like, man, well, it was like my girlfriend had suggested it, like, hey, well, why don't I look for a job in graphic design? I'm like, well, I don't even like graphic design like that. Like I wouldn't do design for, a toy store or whatever companies out there. I have no interest. But if I were to do design, I do it for sport because if I'm as a fan, if I can control or have at least some input into what I consume as a fan of sport, like that's like, to me, like that was just an unbelievable thing. Like, man, I can design a poster that I want to see myself and other people can see it and enjoy it. Like that was so cool. And I still enjoy it to this day. But it was, I mean, it's like it's something that's I I get just get satisfaction out of it. It's like creatively fulfilling to be able to do it, especially for sport.
Definitely. And it's just it's so important like just loving what you do and like that was the hard transition for me was like grew up as an athlete, played baseball and hockey all the way through, high school, college, but then it was like I'm not going pro, but like sports has been my whole life. So what do I do now? And what's a way to connect like all of the things that I'm interested in with sports? And it's like I graduated college in 2011 and it's not like social media was even close to what it is today. And like, I didn't know that it was going to be a career. It was just kind of like, you want to make videos for, this NASCAR track?" And it's like, "Yeah, I'd love to. That'd be great." And then just somehow it's like all of those interests, like you said, it's like, yeah, I love, editing videos. I love graphic design, things like that. But like, I really love doing it for sports because that's what I care about.
Right. No, exactly. Exactly. So I end up taking like that experience in like the collegiate realm and in freelance. Um, and like from because I had been doing that like just for a while. I'm like, well, how can I take this experience in sports and and take it on to something else? And that's where the opportunity at Major League Soccer came about. And it was another challenge. It was communicating um exclusively through social media channels because like before like I when at St. John's you're communicating through print ads, TV commercials, bus ads, subway ads, even just other social media channels, but that was never like the main primary driver. It wasn't until I moved over to MLS where now I'm leading the social media team, and we're just trying to communicate just the success and the brand of the overall league. So like I think there, that was an interesting journey, and it was one that was fulfilling, and it was definitely like that kickstart into like full-time professional league social experience right there.
Oh, that's awesome. Boy, and you brought up a good point before too, is like, going into some of your roles where it's like, I'm not going to know everything, but I promise you, like, I care too much and I'm too driven to not figure it out. And that's like, it's such an undervalued, maybe not undervalued, but it's like a quality that you don't really think of. It's like, oh, well, where have you been? What have you done? Show me on your resume, like, what do you know? And it's like that drive and that desire is like, it's so important to, whoever your next employer might be, where it's like, I need people when I'm hiring them that care and want to learn and want to know everything. I don't need someone who knows everything because like we're all still kind of learning and growing. And it's like it's that quality of just like wanting to be the best and wanting to learn, wanting to grow. That's just so, so important.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, it like for better or for worse, I'm a competitor. I love competition. Like, like if you enjoy sport, like you enjoy the fact that there's two sides kind of going at it to win the game. And I can have as much love for you as a human being as possible, but like, hey, when we go on that field and get on the court, like, I'm trying to destroy you. Okay. So like, like I take that same type of mindset just into like what it is that we do as creators, content creators, as people who are like in the industry, doing something that's at the forefront of public consumption. But I thrive in if someone tells me I can't do something, meaning if they say like, oh, like you're not able to, or a if you tell me like I can't do something, or I'm limited to, like I would like it's like that Jordan phenomenon. Like, all right, I look for that small thing. You tell me something that I can't do, like, you know what? I'm gonna figure that out. Prove you wrong. Just to prove you wrong. Like, even if that's my side mission. I'm like, what? I'm gonna work and I'm gonna figure this thing out to prove this person wrong because they said I wouldn't be able to do something. Like, all right, let's go. I take that on as a challenge. So, yeah, but it's people who have that drive to just be better because like those things like you can't teach. You can't teach passion. You can't teach work ethic. You can't teach a good attitude and just someone who just has this desire to figure things out, get things done, and be the absolute best that they can be. And once you find someone like that, I've even found in my own career, well, if those people are there and they just want to get better and they are talented, like yo, you invest into them, you give them more, like you impart into them, you give them new challenges. Like it's almost like having like you have a kid, and eventually they're gonna learn to walk, but at some point you got to just throw them out there, let them fall a few times, and knowing that, well, what's the worst that can happen? Well, they're gonna fall, may scrape their knee, but they're gonna get up. Eventually, they're gonna start running. You just got to have confidence in them because like they've proved that they're going to keep getting up over and over again. And that's the same thing with people on your team and and your professional careers. Like you find those people who have that passion, that drive, and who are talented. Like you keep them around. Like you invest into them, and like they would thrive in no matter what environment you put them in.
Yeah, it's so true. And it's like I always say, it's like you can teach people to cover a baseball game, to, you know, make a graphic. Like these are all skills that can be taught, but it's like if you want it worse than anyone else and you are dedicated to it more than anyone else, like you're going to learn faster, you're going to learn more, you're going to make what I taught you even better later on down the road. And like you said, it's not like, everyone makes mistakes. Like I have yet to meet someone in this industry that has a perfect track record and has never tweeted or posted something that shouldn't have been posted. But like, it's how, like, that's how you learn. And that's like the failures don't define you. It's how you react to them. What do you learn from them? How do you kind of use them to your advantage and keep learning, keep growing, and keep moving forward?
Right. Yeah, no, exactly. Like you gotta look, if you work in this industry and you haven't posted something and the community kind of, says, oh, social manager should be fired, or maybe you made something and it was a mistake, like whatever. Like that's part of social. I mean, that's the gift and the curse of this particular industry is like, yes, you're at the satisfaction of creating a lot of great content for moments that you enjoy, but at the same time, you're at the front lines of criticism, praise, ridicule. Everyone has an opinion about creative and social. Everyone thinks that they're expert in creative and social. No one truly understands the algorithm because even you could talk to Meta, X, Snapchat, Twitch. It's a moving target. No one knows the algorithm, and if anyone says that they're an expert and they know how to make any video viral, that is false. The platforms don't even know what makes a video goes viral. So like but yeah, our roles are at those front lines, and you got to have thick skin. You have to be willing to go out there and try new things, make mistakes, a lot of test and learn. So you use data to analyze, as much as you can, and you want to take educated chances and take educated risk. But at the same time, like you gotta jump. You have to, just go out there, figure it out. Let's see what's working. Let's see what's not. Learn from it. But you can't be scared. But it's one of those. It's just one of those industries where there's only a few other industries that's like it, where everything that you do is at the face of public consumption. And there's roles out there that you never see what it is that they do, but they're an important part of the engine, but you just don't see what they do. Like they're not at the front lines of public criticism. And sometimes I envy those types. It's like, man, I wish I could just, be over there and doing great work. You're a part of the team, but it's like you don't face the public,
Yeah.
opinion. But
No,
it's,
for
it's
sure.
it's part of the game. Like I enjoy it. I thrive in it. So.
Definitely, man. Well, and like it's funny you brought up like the algorithm and it's like when threads got introduced, it's like, all right, well, what's our strategy? What do we want to do on threads? And it's like, I don't even think threads knows what threads is yet. So like how are like Meta is still figuring out what the platform is. So how do we do this? And it's like literally you have to fail and you have to fall to be able to run. Like you just try stuff, see if it works. If it doesn't, regroup, you think of something else. If that doesn't work, you think, and it's like failure is such a big part of it that it's like you you can't do anything without failure. And it's such a scary word that everyone, like, you don't want to fail, and like especially being a competitor, like you want to win. Like you always want wins. You always want, like, you never want to fail. And it's like it's hard because that's just part of it.
Yeah, exactly. Agreed.
Yeah. So, well, so being at Under Armour now, and like one of the things that we normally talk about on the show is just kind of like a project that you're proud of, or something that means a lot to you that you've done that you can kind of explain and help people understand all of the thought, all the effort, all of the process that goes into something that, finally, goes out to the world and people can consume. But it's like, working with Steph Curry or Kelsey Plum or, the South Carolina, you win some, you lose none, like things like that, where it's like, it's not just you show up, this happens, it goes out, it's over. It's like all of these steps that get to, where everyone can finally see it.
Yeah, no, look, I've had the chance to to work on a lot of which I think are cool projects and things that resonate out there with with the audience. And like, even like, whether it was my time at MLS and helping to launch our esports league, or even at Rock Nation, where, working, just being on the player marketing side and working hand in hand with a lot of those athletes, and building their own personal brand. And, I even think there, what was a lot of just great experiences, and, just being at the forefront, like with the athletes themselves. Just, it's, I think that was just an entirely like fulfilling process. And then, like, even, just taking those challenges over to like the Under Armour side, and, just, like it's a different beast, like going from working with a collegiate property, and then going on the league side at MLS, and then working on in player marketing, and then taking over now to the brand side. For me, like, it kind of like completes that sports circle, where it's okay, well, now I can see sport and content from all these various angles. So like when these moments happen, like, all right, well, yes, I'm a competitor, and, I want to be able to create the best content. But at the same time, like when I'm working on different projects, like Under Armour specifically, yeah, South Carolina just won their national championship undefeated. But, like that was, yeah, like we're celebrating as an organization. We're celebrating as a team. Everyone who kind of touched that project. But a large part of that is like, like the people on my team, a guy named John Barone. Like there's that line: you win some, you lose none. I mean, like, like people would think that, like, oh, big agencies, usually come up with these things, and you pay millions of dollars for these taglines and all of those things. Well, I mean, I'm a believer in empowering your team. Like, I lead with, I'm a creative first leader. I realize like what my strengths are, and I play into those strengths. Like, this is where I lead from, and it's from like, hey, empowerment. I believe in my team. I want to encourage the team, because I think everyone has those unique abilities to create. And he was the one that quickly came up with that tagline, and it was perfect. And there were no second or third drafts. This was sitting in a meeting with him, a one-on-one meeting, and I'm saying, all right, well, South Carolina, if they win a championship, they'll be undefeated. What do we got? Let's make a plan. I said, hey, we should think of a line, so when they win, we're ready to go. And this was weeks in advance, before the tournament started, before the conference tournament started. Like, we're thinking about it, and instantly out of John's mouth is, "Oh, you win some, you lose none." I'm like, man, that's perfect, great. Let's roll with it. So, and fortunately, they went on a run. They won. They beat Iowa and Caitlin Clark. We were ready to go, across all of our, just social and marketing. The slogan was on the shirt. They wore it in the parade. We sold out of the shirt in less than a day, I believe, for their first colorway. Yeah, so like it's really like the power of the team. Like it's one of those moments that, I was like just so proud of John, and for like really kind of helping to kind of steer the ship, and, in terms of like social media. It's that line itself, it's a teamwork, people working on creative. We have our freelancers working on videos. Like we're ready to go. We got the sports marketing team working with the teams and making sure that things are getting, on the website. Like, it's true team effort. But talking strictly social, like, it was John was the mastermind behind that particular slogan. We kind of call him our, like, hey, he's now the designated copywriter. this guy, hey, you're the copywriter right now. Um, because it was that one and then the one before it where we're having a little fun on social media. Nike had, and Fanatics, like they had their whole thing with the uniforms. Everyone saw it. I mean, it was viral, like like just the unfortunate uniform mistakes that they were having. So we were having a little fun with it, and we were like, hey, we should probably make let's have a little fun. And he came up with the line, um, "We got you covered," and we just posted a picture of just a regular baseball pant. It went viral within like the sports community. Got picked up with some earned media, but like just great copywriting. So kudos to John.
Definitely, man. Yeah, shout out to John. He's crushing it. But yeah, it's interesting too, like when the right idea comes along, not second guessing yourself, or like you said, like you're preparing this stuff so far in advance that it's like it's almost just enough runway to overthink it and continue to tweak and like, is that the right and it's like you have to have that conviction and that, like you said, you're empowering, you're trusting your team. It's like, this is perfect. Let's go with it. How do we make it come to life rather than like, well, let's take it to a bigger group and let's think of 9 other options that then we might be able to go with. And it's like, but the perfect options right here. Let's plan. Let's get it going.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, all right, well, you don't want to overthink it. Like you always want to. I've learned in my career, like you do want to trust your gut. Like there, I've learned before even Under Armour. This could have been like any other jobs that I've had, and it's like, man, maybe I should have tweeted that, or maybe we should have been prepared for X, Y, and Z moment. And then like the moment happens, and then you realize that, you know what, yeah, I should have been ready. And then and you listen to that inner voice, you listen to your gut, and you're like, man, you know what? Next time this feeling comes about, you gotta listen to it. So I've truly learned like, hey, if it feels wrong, it probably is wrong. Like, I should probably do something about it. And you just got to listen to your gut. And for projects like that one I was talking about with the actual line, like that was one where sure, weeks in advance, like we came up with the line, but we sit on it because it's like before you bring it to the broader group, because like there's sensitivities, like all the teams are trying to compete for a championship, and and we knew that we had a plan, so we'll work our plan as a smaller group, and then once you get closer to the moment, you bring it to the larger team, just so that there's visibility. But it's like you definitely just want to trust your gut, try not to overthink anything, and because it's going to be there for a moment, and then you move on to the next thing. So you just can't overthink stuff.
Yeah, man, so true. Well, I mean, so while we're on the subject of just kind of overthinking advice, like trusting your gut, like going back to, when you're first getting into the industry and basically speaking to, those kids, those, up and coming creators, the social managers, whatever it might be, looking to someday get to where you are. What would be that piece of advice that, you wish you knew when you were getting into the industry that would help you kind of navigate that?
Well, it's not even about like what I wish I knew, because like there are like lots of things that people have told me. Um, no, I can't answer that question. The things that I wish I knew earlier on that I end up finding out later on is like, especially like in this world of social creative marketing, where everything's at the forefront. I would say you have to post your work. I don't care if you're working in social and you've worked on a great project. I don't know. Put it on your social platforms. Put it on your website. Put it on your blog. Like you need to have a record of like you need to be confident and just post your work. And then even if you're not in the industry, you're trying to get in the industry, you need to make up some work and just start doing it for fun. Like that's how even as a freelance designer early on, I said, you know what, I want to make professional sports graphics, but I'm in collegiate athletics. I just start doing it for fun. I said, let me just start doing it because You have to, like the old saying, you dress for the part you want, not the job you have. Um, so I had to start designing for what I wanted and not what I had. So like you have to be confident in like, poster work. Poster work, experiment. Don't be so sacred over your own social media channels. Don't be so sacred over your own blog. Like you have to like just get out your own comfort zone, be confident in who you are, and put yourself out there. You got to go talk to the person. You have to network. You have to do that thing that you're uncomfortable with doing. You have to go speak to that person. You have to apply for that job. You got to go in that interview, even if you have no like bad to say, even if you have no intent on taking that job, you got to get the reps in because these companies are getting the reps in, and
Yep.
like they may go through. Like you gotta do the work as well. So you never know how long it's going to take you to find your next job or to find your dream job. So you might as well get your comfortability reps in, get all your nerves out, figure out along the journey of interviewing with companies that, maybe you're not as excited about, but you got to get your reps in. So like that's what I would tell either my younger self or people who are just trying to come in the industry. There's no right solve for any of this. Everyone is trying to figure things out. I'm still trying to figure things out. Every day, like, sure, I have all this experience, but at the same time, like, tomorrow is a new day, new sets of challenges. We're all just human beings trying to figure this thing out, and we're just taking our experiences, to make that the best educated decision that we can make. So just be confident, just figure it out. Everyone's trying to figure it out.
That's it, man. And trust your gut. I mean, it's so important. And it's like, just like you said, like post your work. If you're proud of it, post it. Like you don't have to please anyone. It doesn't have to be for any, other purpose or anything like that. It's like trust your gut. If you think that this is something that should be in the world, put it in the world. Like like you said, it's all about your journey and looking out for you and making sure that you're ready for whatever's next. And I couldn't agree more.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, cool, man. Well, honestly, I cannot thank you enough for doing this. It's been a long time coming, and it's been great to just have a couple minutes to chat and pick your brain on some things. And I learned a lot, and I hope everyone listening learned a lot too. But honestly, I can't thank you enough.
Oh, yeah, no, appreciate you for having me.
Definitely. Well, thank you everyone for listening. This is another episode of a Very Good Social Media Podcast where we try to live up to that name every day, and we will see you next time.